BMW season takes us over to China for the Chinese Grand Prix, and we have got some news and some stories to talk about heading into this race. First of all, Reese has backed Tom against his rivalry with Ocon, stating that Ocon is just straight up worthless in F1. Obviously, if we are trying to basically refresh our memories about what's going on here, of course, Tom and Reese are currently driving for Mercedes. However, it was meant to be Reese and Ocon, but of course, Ocon was then dropped by Mercedes, and Ocon had a massive rant at Tom about the entire situation. Reese has now decided to get involved and has backed Tom in this scenario. This has become a very personal issue between both Tom, Reese, and also Ocon. Now, of course, it's a very interesting scenario, as obviously Tom and Reese are cousins, family members. They are so close to each other, and now they're taking the fight together between themselves and Esteban Ocon. So it's going to be interesting to see how Ocon responds, or how people are going to respond to what Reese has said. It is very, very interesting, and this story could probably go on for God knows how long. But yeah, very interesting stuff coming out of Reese especially. The FIA have announced that they have decreased the ticket prices for the events this year. It was becoming a major problem that the prices to get to the Grand Prix was just too much for fans to pay for, and obviously that meant that circuit attendance was low, meaning that circuits couldn't afford to actually run the races. It was all a domino effect, and the FIA are taking a stance on this and are trying to decrease the ticket prices. This is the first step in a new direction for the teams. Ford are interested and are currently in talks to try and join F1. Now, of course, as we know, all teams are currently full. There is no space for another team in Formula 1. However, Ford are currently in talks. Now, if they are currently in talks, it means that there's some teams that may not be around next year. So, it's all about now who Ford are discussing this with. Are they potentially going to come in as a title sponsor? Will it be as an engine supplier? Will it be as a full team? This is a very interesting case turning around here, and it seems like Ford really want in. Now, we said that Jaguar were having some perfectly normal scenarios whereby they had an issue with Gasly's wage, and yeah, they were going to sort that out very, very soon. That's not turning out to be the case. It looks like they're actually having very big issues sorting out these wages with Gasly. Now, if you're unaware of this story, basically, Jaguar made a mistake on their contract with themselves and Pierre Gasly. So Gasly was meant to earn a specific wage, and that wasn't actually being given to him. And the Jaguar said, yeah, you know, it's right, the contract says this, and unfortunately your wages are being paid lower than what they should be. And they said they would change that. Now, their biggest problem is, it's not changed, and they're not giving him the wage yet. So, if things roll on, Gasly might be out of the door quicker than before we know. Or, if Jaguar are really having issues, do they have a financial problem that we're not so sure about? So, yeah, we'll keep you up to date with that in terms of that. But let's go and have a look at the practice pointers now, see how the teams are getting on here at Shanghai, and then we'll move into the race and also qualifying as well. And then moving on into the practice pointers themselves. So, teams are struggling for setup as we're expecting heavy rain for the race here at Shanghai. A lot of the teams are thinking, do they go with a wet race setup? Do they go with a dry race setup? They're not quite sure on what the weather is going to do. What we can tell you is teams are struggling to work that out. Audi, however, have gone straight for it. They've gone with an all-out wet setup for the race. They're going to compromise their qualifying session, and they're going to go for it in the race and hope that it pays off. But if the race stays dry, we could be looking at a two-horse race up front with Mercedes and Red Bull clear of the pack in the dry weather conditions, with McLaren really not anywhere near the pace of Mercedes and Red Bull. So it's very interesting to see what we've got. We've got Mercedes and Red Bull fast in the dry. We've got Audi going for an all-out wet setup, so they could be quick if it rains. Let's just find out what goes on. It's time for qualifying and the race for the Chinese Grand Prix. It's round number 3. Yo, what's going on, guys? It is FoxyDude98 here, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the F1 journey for you guys today here on the channel. Today we are here for round 3 at the Chinese Grand Prix, and hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you do enjoy the video, feel free to click the like button on the video. Also, if you have not subscribed yet to the channel, feel free to drop a subscription to the channel. It would mean absolutely loads as we continue to rebuild the channel, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy. So, what are we doing then for the Chinese Grand Prix? Well, it's very interesting because we are looking at some potential wet weather for the Grand Prix, and there is going to be monsoon weather for the race, and I saw that and took it in mind. So as you can see, the first lap here, I decided to go nice and slow and basically banker lap my lap time there. I didn't really go for it. I sort of just pretended like I was going to go for it. But as you can see, there's the race there, look. So you can see that automatically we've got heavy rain now. It doesn't show the monsoon weather bit in there, but there is monsoon weather on the forecast. Now, I don't actually know how long the rain is going to, how long it's going to take for the rain to drop. But with the fact that there's going to be light rain and also heavy rain involved, I had a feeling that it might just be a case of there being a lot of it come very, very quickly. So with that being said, I decided to go out there and actually put in a proper lap. And as you can see, we go 3/100ths of a second down on George Russell there. So very, very close to George. And yeah, very, very close. And we managed to just about get behind him then. Obviously, like I said before in the previous episodes, George Russell's name will be changed for the next episode, so it is fully capitalized. I obviously recorded the Brazilian Grand Prix and the Chinese Grand Prix at the same time. So obviously I didn't get a chance to change it then, and really I just forgot about it. So I will change it for the next episode. If not, then I expect a brick to be put at my nostrils so I can sniff it. But anyway, as you can see, then we go around the final corner here, and we're just about up a little bit here on our personal best lap time. Lost a little bit of time in the final sector there, but as we do come across the line, it is going to be third place for us today. P3 on the grid. I think that's our best qualifying session so far, if I'm correct in saying. And you can see there, it is Reese that takes pole position by 0.2 of a second over Pascal Wehrlein, who's then a further 3/100ths clear of myself, and then George Russell, and then it is Sam in the McLaren behind. So it is Mercedes and Red Bull at the front as we go into this race, and it's going to be quite close. Obviously, as we saw in the practice pointers, us and Red Bull were much, much quicker in the dry conditions, but if it does rain, which it is set to do, it could be very interesting for us as we move on into the Grand Prix. Looking at the race then, well, there's the monsoon weather you can see, but the bad news for me is that that rain is not going to come as quicker as I expected. But as you can see, we've got 5 red lights here now, and it is lights out when we go here for the start of the Chinese Grand Prix. Good start from us there off the line. A good getaway there. But George Russell gets a storming start up front, and we have to give up the position there. But now as we sort of duck towards the inside line here, we now can go down the inside, dictate the corner slightly here. It's a 3-wide moment. I give the room there. Russell squeezes out my teammate Reese there. Now I've got to sort of try and attack both George and also Reese at the same time, getting past the pair of them though. Brilliant start there. Reese now moves up ahead of George Russell, and it is Red Bull ahead of Mercedes, ahead of Red Bull. Sam under pressure here from Hulkenberg in the Ferrari now. As you can see, Sam trying to fight back against the Ferrari drivers. We now blast it through. Pascal Wehrlein leads the Grand Prix. Sam in second place here, going through against Nico Hulkenberg, and he maintains the position there, so he can't, Hulkenberg can't force his way through, as we see us ourselves now on board here as Pascal leads the Grand Prix. We are in second place, Reese in third, George Russell in fourth, Sam in fifth ahead of the 2 Ferraris, Hulkenberg, Rosberg, and then Lando Norris in 7th place for the other McLaren. And we've got then one of the Porsche cars followed by the 2 Renaults now as we fly our way through with some floating rims there in the banking corner. That's not weird at all. As you can see, Pascal Wehrlein as we go down the back straight here with a massive advantage already off the start there. But Reese now might fancy a run, and he goes for it here. Look at that, Reese now towards the inside line, making the attack on ourselves here as we slipstream ourselves down towards the hairpin corner here, braking late, defending around the outside here, and we're going to do just that here, and we're going to get a better exit than Reese and stay in front. There's a random floating helicopter in the background. There's a lot of floating things here today, and I mean the helicopter's actually normal, the rims not so much, as we now blast our way through to complete the first lap of this Chinese Grand Prix. Pascal Wehrlein leads the way, 1.5 seconds he's got out front, and we need to try and close that down. Rich mixture, as you can see on my dash there, has been enabled as we now push onwards here, but as you can see, middle sector there, getting a little bit out of shape actually. You can see it there, just a snap of oversteer as we clip the curb there, and Reese now takes that as a full advantage to try and go down the inside here. Wehrlein, as you can see there, 1.9 clear now in the middle sector, so he's pulling away very comfortably for myself, whereas I'm defending here from Reese, get caught on the curb on the bank in there, have to lift off and try and basically just manage the throttle now. Not going to help my cause at all here as we now go Rich Mix overtake here, but Reese will have the same engine modes to his disposal now as he blasts it down the straight. Russell now in the background there, you can see, look at George now trying to catch up on the pair of us here as we now go towards the hairpin. Russell now tries to have a look. Sam also in there as well, trying to find a way through, and George there goes down the inside of Reese, and we've lost out 2 places there, and this scrap just continues. And at this moment in time, I decided let's not get involved in this. Let's just go into the pits and get a fresh set of boots on. And yeah, this is extremely early. This is lap 2 of the Grand Prix. This will put us stone dead last, but I just needed to do this. As you can clearly see, it's quite evidential that I ain't got the pace. Well, I've got okay-ish pace, but it's clear that at the start of this race, it's not working out my way. So, whilst I'm, going to have to stop for a new set of tyres anyway, I decided to pit nice and early, just get a fresh set of these soft tyres on, drag them all the way to the wet weather period, which shouldn't be a problem, use all of my rich mix available, have no traffic, no battles, no squabbles, nothing like that, and just absolutely blast the living daylights out of this car and just go from there. And hopefully a massive undercut might actually bring me back into play with Pascal Wehrlein. Who knows? But anyway, lap 4 to start lap 5 of the Grand Prix. It's the fastest final sector of anybody so far, and my personal best lap so far. And saying that, though, it's not actually gone too well for us. As you can see there, Sam now comes out of the pits here, and he has actually managed to jump us, which is very, very surprising there. George Russell, though, we have actually jumped George Russell. You can see there, look in the background, on the top left of your screens, it is Sam ahead of myself and then George Russell. So the undercut has kind of worked, but it appears that McLaren has got more race pace than I anticipated. I didn't really put it as a threat for myself in this Grand Prix, but maybe I should have potentially put it as some sort of a threat here. But anyway, we're going to continue onwards now with the performance. So you can see here that I had plus 2 laps of fuel on board of my car. I'm already down to plus 1 lap of fuel, so I've really been burning my rich mixture at this stage of the race. And as you can see now, we are coming up to some traffic here, led by a Porsche car, and I think we've got some BMWs, we've got Perez in there as well. We go wide, and then we have a screen freeze, which just sends me completely off the circuit, so thanks for that. And as you can see, it doesn't really affect us that much, because in the braking zone, we're going to come right back at Sam here, nearly making some contact there with the rear of the car now, but it is Giovinazzi that's involved in that, so I think it's a Jaguar car then as well, as we get a very good run here on the banking corner now against Sam, but that McLaren is much faster in a straight line than my Mercedes is, so I'm just going to have to put it in overtake mode and just leave it in rich mixture and just steal the slipstream, and that's what we're doing here now. As you can see, DRS enabled for Sam as he now goes towards the inside of Nick de Vries. We're now going to go down the inside of, well, as many as we can actually now. We go down the inside of Sam, we go down the inside of Nick, although Nick wasn't really that much of a fight there, and we've also gone down the inside of, I think that is Perez, so we've done about like 3 overtakes or so, but of course, on this game, when there's an AI that just, breaks in the corners and there's like 4 of them, it's very easy to do that. So we now go onto the straight here. That's Reese there in front. So Reese now rejoins just ahead of the Jaguar. We're now going to go around the outside of all 3 of them. What a super overtake that was there. To just go around the outside of 3 cars with our tyres warmed up and up to temperature. We were able to just blast our way through the traffic, and we're doing a great job here now. Reese has also stayed in front of Sam. So obviously Reese and Russell were battling hard, and clearly it's done well for him as we now go down the inside of Bottas there, and we managed to make that move stick as Reese just bashes his way through the the BMW car there, sorry, and yeah, that is him completely batting his way through that. Next up the road is Pascal Wehrlein, and you can see him just there he is, going through the corner now, so really, we haven't lost all too much time to Pascal, and the rain is now starting to fall, so we're kind of back into play a little bit here in the race against myself versus Pascal Wehrlein versus Reese as well. I cannot disregard Reese from this Grand Prix. He is extremely fast, and as you can see, the gap is 2.7 seconds now between myself and Pascal Wehrlein, so that's what we need to close now. So in theory, we're kind of back to square one, where we were before, but obviously now you can see Reese is onto the back of me, but with the rain starting to fall, it's now going to get difficult for everybody out there, as we're now just going to drop the car out of all the high engine modes here. Reese is going to breeze past us here in his Mercedes. He's turned up the engine modes as well. He's actually got very little ERS at the moment. I can see it on the dash there as he now goes towards the inside. I'm not actually going to fight it. I let Reese through in this position. With the fact that Russell and Sam are in heavy traffic behind and Pascal Wehrlein ahead, I can't afford to just keep fighting Reese, because we could potentially be going for a double attack on Pascal Wehrlein together. So let's go and do that. DRS is now enabled for myself here, and I decided, actually, well, if I'm fast in elements of the track, why don't I just try and potentially pass Reese? So as you can see here, going up towards turn 1 now, I go towards the inside line, make that my committed corner. Reese says, nah, I don't want you to do that, and just gives me a little bit of a contact there in towards turn 1. We now go around the outside here. Reese gets flustered by me going around the outside, and we get back past Reese there. So, yeah, I was sort of like, should I fight, should I not fight? But I decided that if I'm going to fight Reese, which I did there, I'm going to do it where I can actually fight him. But looking a little bit further back here, we can see we've now got Sam here trying to battle against Sergio Perez, but Perez is battling Charles Leclerc, and it's all getting a bit messy here, especially for Sam, and this is ruining his race right now, and that's also ruining Russell's race, because George is directly behind Sam in this battle. So as you can see now, Perez gets a lovely overtake done there. Sam now is going to get involved in this scrap here, but as you can see, DRS is going to be enabled for Sam, so he should get this move done. As you can see here, he's breezing down the straight now to attack his Charles Leclerc, and he goes down the inside there, makes the move stick, and that is him up into another position. Don't know what it is, though, because I ain't got a clue. But as you can see, George Russell now makes his way up the order as well. So, yeah, Sam and George have really cost themselves in the traffic here, and they're not getting any luck at the moment in this Chinese Grand Prix. But Sam can now set his sights on Perez, and then his next sights will be on both of us in the Mercedes, and that is Hulkenberg, who is also stuck in the traffic, and Norris, I saw there as well, also stuck in the traffic. Lap 8 of the Grand Prix, though, and it is time to box for a brand new set of intermediate tyres. You can see the rain there really causing me to have serious problems right now with the grip here. And at this stage of the race, I couldn't keep up with Pascal Wehrlein either. Pascal has just gone into the distance at this rate. And as you can see now, Reese here with the power of the Mercedes coming back at me now as we go onto the straight here. DRS is enabled for Reese to be blasted. This is actually critical because whoever gets in front here will get first service in the pits for a fresh set of intermediate tyres. We brake super late around the outside here. Tried to defend the position. Reese takes the inside line, but we take the exit away from Reese and get in front of him. So we now get first service. But bad news for Reese is he is now going to carry on for another lap here on a set of the dry tyres. In theory, should I have stacked against Reese? I've got to think about myself as well. And in that scenario, we battled it out to try and get first service in the pits. And it's just unfortunate that we were both together. But it's going to be a new set of intermediate tyres going onto the car now. And as you can see, we're going to put those on and get on with it. And now, this is where the race changes. As you saw, it was obviously a clear, straight fight between me, Reese, and Wehrlein, albeit Pascal was pulling ahead. Now, we're going into that wet weather territory. Now, remember, Audi put a full wet setup on. Now, they started on soft tyres, which means they should be in the mix with us lot, which could potentially be quite daunting for us. But unfortunately, you can see that we're now right behind a couple of cars, but they haven't stopped yet for their intermediates. And you can see here, automatically, all I need to do is just go around the outside of Rosberg here. I've got plenty of grip on my intermediate tyres. Bit of back end slide in there, as they're obviously quite cold at the moment. Now we're catching up to the back of Verstappen here in the Porsche car, and we're going to go down the inside of him, nearly making contact there, and making that one stick. And we continue to push onwards now with Sainz up the road. Now, Sainz is on a set of intermediate tyres, so that Lamborghini car has put the strategy to perfection right now for himself, but he's getting stuck behind something. Has he got a problem? Ocon's got a problem as well there, so we now go down the inside. Sainz fights back here. I think Ocon's on a set of dry tyres, really struggling out there, and it's caused Sainz out. He just didn't really know where to pass him. Got a bit flustered there, and that's a free overtake for myself. Now we can get up onto the back of Pierre Gasly in the Jaguar car, and we're going to do just that here. Lap 11 of the Grand Prix. You can see now that the rain is falling much, much harder in this race, and Pascal Wehrlein is next up ahead. And as for Reese, though, I can see on the mini-map here that Reese looks like he's just entering the straight that we've just exited, so he's only just behind Sainz, so it's not cost him horribly. Like, it could have cost him, like, the entire Grand Prix, which, in effect, it kind of has, because obviously he's had to do another lap on the dries. But at least, you know, we managed to get somewhere with it. So, as you can see now, we're onto the back of Gasly here. We're going to use overtake mode. I don't have any rich mixture enabled at the moment because I burnt off all my fuel, which was completely necessary. And as you can see now, we start to blast our way through here. Go down the inside of the Jaguar car, and we make the move stick here. And that is us up into 4th place. Pascal Wehrlein is in 3rd, but I believe it's both Audis of Hamilton and Vettel that do lead the Grand Prix here in China. So we are now in a proper P4. It's not like a net P4, net P2, whatever. We are now in 4th place. This is our position. Wehrlein is catching one of the Audi cars, and he's going to keep trying to do that. Lap 13 of the Grand Prix, and it is time now to get the full wets on. It is getting too wet now for these intermediate tyres, and I need to get off of them and get myself a set of wets on. And as you can see, we are starting to close the gap a little bit to Pascal Wehrlein, so it does appear that in these wet conditions, it is favouring myself, but there is going to be a problem now for Audi, and that is Hamilton and Vettel are both coming in at the same time here, so one of them is going to get compromised. I think Lewis Hamilton is in front of Vettel, but I could be wrong on that, as we now come into the pits here for a brand new set of wet tyres on the car. You can see the rain falling heavily now. This monsoon weather is on its way, and as you can see now, exiting the pits here, no traffic, no hold-ups, which is perfectly fine. And we're now going to continue on our way. I think Reese there gets a little bit held up by us, but not heavily, so he should be okay for this stint as we now exit the pits here. And I think who's in front of us is going to be the Audi car of Vettel, because of course he was going to get held up at this stage. And as you can see there, that is Vettel, and that's Pascal Wehrlein, who's in front of Seb But why on earth is he pitted for intermediate tyres in this Grand Prix? Pascal Wehrlein has just strategically ruined his own Grand Prix. He's going to have to come in and stop again. And that is awful stuff there from Red Bull. Speaking of some attacks, though, this is Sam trying to recover what has been an awful race for him and McLaren. And he blasts his way past Nick de Vries there in the BMW. And yeah, what on earth have Red Bull done with Pascal Wehrlein there? He's pitted onto intermediates. He's going to have to come in and stop again for a brand new set of wet tyres. And he does do just that. So that releases us now into third place. We're now catching Vettel in this Grand Prix, and we're going to try and keep pressing onwards, try to keep closing that gap. But look at the conditions right now. They are so wet, and the safety car has been deployed. The monsoon weather has now caused a safety car to come out. It is too wet for us to continue racing, and we now have to stay behind the safety car for a couple of laps. Oh, look at that. You can see the conditions there. Look, you literally cannot see anything in front of you, but weirdly, it's telling us to catch the safety car queue. The safety car is right there, so could we just, you know, pass the safety car, please, so we can get on with our race? Because Hamilton is just pulling away now at this rate. And there we go, pass the safety car. Let's wait for the leader to come around. Not a problem, we'll do just that. But look at those. You literally can't see a thing. I've never had such awful conditions in my life. Lap 19, pass the safety car. Okay, sure. Lap 20, we're coming up now to the back of the safety car. So we should be able to group back up now. And as you can see, I've actually got some front wing damage. I never actually noticed that for the whole race. So if I had good pace at the moment, I wonder what my pace would have been like if I had a good front wing. You would have just seen it there as we went for the hairpin. I've got like a yellow end plate on the left-hand side. So, yeah, we're coming up to safety car. Oh, we have to pass it again. Okay, sure. That's fine. Lap 21 of the Grand Prix, just, you know. Lap 22 of the Grand Prix now. Catching up to Vettel again in the Audi, of course. Which is what we need to do. I'm saving some fuel and ERS as well in the process by doing this. But as you can see now, we're blasting our way down the straight here. Catch up to the safety car. Oh, there it goes again. Okay, fine. Now all of a sudden the safety car's coming in all of a sudden. Oh, and it's just gone again. So what the hell happened to the safety car? I don't even know. It completely bugged, but me and Vettel are right up each other's backsides now, and we're going to go down the inside of Vettel here, make an attack here. Vettel makes contact with us slightly, and we now go down the inside of Sebastian Vettel up into second place of the Chinese Grand Prix. What the hell the safety car was doing for nearly 9 laps. That safety car was just plotting itself in different parts of the track and saying, off you go, lads. So I don't have a clue what that was doing, but anyway, that's kind of just ruined my Grand Prix in a way, because it meant that every time we got held up, we didn't actually have a chance to close down Lewis Hamilton, and we may have won the Grand Prix. I don't know though, but as you can see here, here comes Vettel now with more straight line speed here down the straight, but we're going to use overtake mode to try and stay in front. Now into the hairpin we go, and as you can see, that is us comfortably staying through, but Lewis Hamilton in the Audi wins the Chinese Grand Prix. What a sensational job by Audi. Their gamble paid off, and after a really weird Chinese Grand Prix, we'll take second place in the Grand Prix, just ahead of Vettel in the other Audi car. And I cannot complain with that. You know, we had a messy Grand Prix, and we managed to salvage second place out of it. And as you can see, it is Hamilton for myself, Vettel, Gasly getting some great points for Jaguar, ahead of Red Bull's Pascal Wehrlein, Sainz getting points for Lamborghini, Giovinazzi getting points for Jaguar as well, Perez getting points for Lamborghini, Charles Leclerc getting points for Porsche, and Reese, well, he only got a point. McLaren didn't score, neither did Ferrari. What a crazy old race we had here in China. Let's go into the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship and see how things have panned out. So having a look then at the Drivers' Championship after the Chinese Grand Prix, Pascal Wehrlein still leads the World Drivers' Championship. He's got 53 points so far in this World Championship. We maintain P2 in the Drivers' Championship on 43 points. 10 points now behind Pascal Wehrlein after we managed to close the gap between myself and him. For, I think, the first time this season, I've managed to close the gap on Pascal. Lewis Hamilton, after that spectacular race win, and also Audi's spectacular double podium, both Hamilton and Vettel are tied on points with 33, but obviously, as Hamilton won the Grand Prix, he takes the provisional third place in the championship due to a better race result. Sam, after not scoring, is on 25 points and still in contention in this championship after 2 non-scoring finishes and 1 race victory. Reese is on 24 points and just a point behind Sam, with Nico Hulkenberg on 22 points. Charles Leclerc maintains a strong start to the season with 16 points, and it's the first time that the Jaguar car has entered the top 10 of the championship. Pierre Gasly, with a fantastic 4th place, finishes on P9 in the championship so far, with Lando Norris in 10th place, also tied on points, but actually Gasly has got a better race victories record compared to Norris in terms of he finished in 4th and Norris hasn't finished that high yet. So yeah, that's how the championship looks after round 3. Let's go ahead and see how things have shaped up in the Constructors' Championship. Now, having a look at the Constructors' Championship after round 3 of the Grand Prix, you can see that Mercedes-Benz, we are top of the Constructors' Championship with 67 points, but that is in by no means a comfortable margin, as Audi, with their 1-3 finish today, all leapfrog many teams and go second with 66 points, just 1 point behind us now in the championship. Red Bulls maintain a strong start to the season with 57 points, and they'll be looking to grasp more points from that. McLaren will be disappointed with only 37 points so far this season, and yeah, they've got plenty more to offer. Ferrari are in trouble as well. They've only got 23 points so far this season, and they're tied with Porsche, and at the moment, they're in actually a fight between Ferrari, Porsche, and Jaguar, with Jaguar picking up their first points this season to jump to 18 points after a spectacular finish for both Giovinazzi and also Pierre Gasly. Lamborghini also pick up some massive points, 12 points they got from the Chinese Grand Prix. Now, Lamborghini said that 1 point this season would be an absolute mission accomplished for them. I wonder how they're going to react when they've now got 12 points so far. BMW still don't have a point. Renault, shockingly, have still not scored yet. So, yeah, that is it for the Chinese Grand Prix. But without further ado, let's go into the post-race notebook. Let's see what people have had to say after this crazy race here in China. And, yeah, after that, then, we'll be moving on to the next round very, very soon. Taking a look then at the post-race notebook after the Chinese Grand Prix, Audi's gamble did pay off. They obviously went with the full wet setup and it worked in their favour. And Lewis Hamilton was left absolutely delighted after the Chinese Grand Prix to take his first win with his new team at Audi. Lamborghini also have reasons to celebrate with a sensational double points finish at the Chinese Grand Prix. They did their strategy to perfection. They started on the soft tyres. They stayed ahead of all the other cars. They went onto the inters, went onto the wet tyres perfectly. They didn't mess up with strategy, and they got the job done. Following that from Lamborghini, Jaguar were also another team to celebrate. A fantastic double points finish, scoring 18 points with Gasly finishing in P4, a highlight for them. However, there were some teams that were frustrated, and obviously we couldn't fit it all in the main points for the notebook, so we'll go through them. And it's Red Bull and also Reese that were left frustrated, as well as McLaren, and they were the main ones. Now, McLaren were frustrated that they just lacked pace. In Brazil, McLaren were untouchable. Head over to China, they were absolutely nowhere, and it's something that they just do not know why all of a sudden they lost out in China compared to their rivals. Reese was upset that his race was ruined by mix-ups with strategy. Now, Reese obviously lost out because Tom had the eligibility to pit first. Reese said that he was completely fine with that. What we didn't actually spot in the Grand Prix is that Reese actually got pitted onto another set of intermediate tyres, the exact same as Pascal Wehrlein, and he says that is why he lost out and only managed to finish in P10. So that is something that we didn't spot, but Reese also had an issue with strategy. Now, Red Bull were also furious as they actually got out the wrong tyres. They managed to get, obviously, Pascal Wehrlein in after a very late call to respond to Tom. Now, Tom was initially meant to box on lap 13, in which he did for a fresh set of wet tyres, but he stayed out an extra lap longer. Now, as soon as he then pitted again and dummied it, Red Bull decided to try and react as quick as possible. But getting the tyres out, they got inters out and not wets out and completely ruined it for themselves. And finally, many teams and many drivers, especially Tom, were absolutely furious with the safety car in the Grand Prix. As we saw, the safety car just never picked up the leader, and then all of a sudden it turned into a virtual safety car when the safety car just peeled off into the pits, and it left them just having to restart as of normal. Everyone in the paddock was absolutely furious, as no one was eligible to close up, and no one could really make anything from it. Vettel was also steaming after the race, as he felt that he was robbed of second place after Tom managed to get the better launch, because of course no one knew when the safety car was coming in, and it was a complete and utter mess. The FIA are said to be investigating this as soon as possible. But guys, that is everything for the F1 Journey Season 3 Part 3 here for the Chinese Grand Prix. Thank you so much for watching and taking your time out of your day to watch my videos. If you did enjoy it, like I said, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you've not yet subscribed to the channel already. I'll see you guys for part number 4 very, very soon. Take care all. Goodbye.